Welcome back to my channel. I'm Hannah Blackwell, and today I'm bringing you my winter romance book recommendations. I love a wintry, snowy setting for a romance book, especially some romantasy type reads, maybe some aliens, some monsters, some fae. No matter the species, I love it when it snows, and I love to see snow or a snowed-in trope or a secluded snowy mountaintop in my romance books. So today I'm bringing you all of my wintry romance recommendations. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I'd love to have you do so. All my social media is linked down below in the description, including my Goodreads, Instagram, Patreon, and the link to the Hideaway Discord. Don't forget to click the like button and comment down below with your winter romance book recommendations for me and for everyone else down in the comments. And without further ado, let's get into this video. So the first book I'm going to discuss is Love Letters and Thirst Tonics by Haley Blackwood. I just read this book recently and really enjoyed it. I didn't realize it was going to be snowy, but it definitely was. This is a cozy romantasy book about two vampires. Our heroine owns this little trinket shop in this cute little cozy small town. Her best friend is a witch, and she has to take these thirst tonics to control her vampire thirst. There's a new carpenter in town, and he is a vampire as well, and when the majority of her little trinket shop collapses because of a beetle infestation, the new carpenter in town has to help her out, repair her shop. They also end up unintentionally sending each other anonymous letters through these magical mailboxes, so there is the secret pen pal trope as well. They definitely don't get along. It's grumpy. They are both grumpy, partially because of their thirst. And it's a really cute, cozy vampire winter romance. What makes this extra special to read in the wintertime is the fact that most of it takes place towards the end of winter, but the winter cold is sticking around longer than usual. My favorite part of this book is when the heroine and the hero get snowed in together because of a surprise blizzard. So there's the snowed in trope as well, where they're stuck together in the trinket shop. It's really cute. I adored it, and I love a snowed-in trope. It was very cozy too, and I love to read cozy books in winter. The next one I have is a novella, and this is more of a fun, erotic, but still pretty cute monster romance novella, and this is by Layla Faye. It's called Wed to the Ice Giant. It's the first book in her Wed to the series, where humans and monsters are set up through this kind of like AI almost generated dating service that sets you up with your perfect mate. And monsters in this world have kind of taken over, and humans are poor and like the lower class, and they don't have funds. Our heroine signs up for this dating service because it guarantees food and safety and warmth for her family to be taken care of. But the point of this dating service is to set up people's perfect mates. So there obviously is an HEA in here. The Ice Giant is the king of the ice giants, and this is just a really fun wintry romance novella with an ice giant, and they go to his ice palace, and it's just very magical and icy and monstrous and a good time. Next, I have a Violet Taylor book. I love Violet Taylor. I've really enjoyed a lot of her short, super spicy monster books. This one is about Jack Frost, and it's called Frostbitten. This has been a little bit since I've read this book, but I remember having a really good time with it. This girl basically goes on a mission and gets stuck falling through kind of like a portal into Jack Frost's realm when she's like doing like some icy mountain climbing. It's a romance from there with Jack Frost, and there's really not much else to it. Like I can't really go into detail because honestly I don't really remember too much about it other than it just being a very enjoyable, short, spicy time with Jack Frost. Just a fun Jack Frost retelling. Violet Taylor just brings the short, spicy, fun times, and it does give you all of those burr, chilly, cold winter vibes. Okay, next I have a book that I feel like if it was published today, this would be published as a romantasy, but as it was published, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, I'm not sure the exact date, it was published as fantasy, and this is Spinning Silver by Naomi Novik. This is a Rumpelstiltskin retelling about our heroine whose family is poor, and she gets a reputation for turning anything into gold. Her and her family are moneylenders. There's a lot of like racism and anti-Semitism in this book that is explored, so just know that going into this. One day, because of the reputation she has built, an ice fae comes to her and tells her she has like 3 opportunities to turn like silver into gold, and then she will be his bride. But she doesn't want this, but for some reason he feels like he has to give this to her. Anyway, anyway, it goes from there. There's actually some other side plots too. One of them is a Cinderella retelling, and I cannot remember the other one, but it's a bunch of retellings actually together. Most people talk about the Rumpelstiltskin aspect, but there's actually some other retellings in here too. It's really, really good. I would call it romantasy. Like, it's not spicy though, but it is, I would consider it romantasy. A large portion of the plot is the romance. So I really enjoyed this. It's got an icy fae palace. It is set like in a magical version, I believe, of Poland or Latvia or Lithuania, that region. It's very icy. It has a lot of very cold atmosphere. It reminds me a little bit of The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden, but it's not as slow paced. A lot of people recommend this for winter books for a good reason. Like, it is such a good winter read. Another one that I don't think we see a lot of people talk about as like a winter romance, but it's Guild by Raven Kennedy. So this is a King Midas retelling, and our heroine she's been gold touched by King Midas. She is gold. All of her is gold. Her skin, her hair, everything but the whites of her teeth and the whites of her eyes are gold. He has kept her in this gilded cage. He is just keeping her as a pet. She has just gone through a lot of abuse and a lot of hard times, and she just kind of has given up, and that's kind of where you start the story. I love the growth in this. I love the character building. I love the world building. I love everything about the series so much. I need to finish book 5 and 6. This one actually is set in a world where there's like 6 different realms, and the one that she's in is like one of the most northern ones, and it is like snowy. She spends a lot of her time in the atrium where she can look up and she's like watching the snow fall from the sky. It is like always snowing there, so it definitely has all of the winter vibes, especially in the first, I would say 2 books especially. It's very wintry and it's always snowing and icy, and it definitely has all of that atmosphere. Just make sure you do check the trigger warnings before going into that one. Next is another classic that I do think a lot of people talk about for like icy, cold romance, and that's Ice Planet Barbarians. I love this alien romance series. This is about these women who have been abducted by these awful aliens and mistreated, and then crash landed on this planet called Not Hoth. And this is where they find these big blue aliens, and they discover that a lot of these women are mates to these aliens. And there's definitely some triggers, especially in the first book, so check trigger warnings going into this. But I love this whole series. I love the world building. I love the character development. I love the found family. I love how you really get to know all of the characters throughout and the extra novellas, and just, I always feel like home when I go back to the Ice Planet Barbarians series, and I especially do love to read it in winter time. It just is like a tradition for me. I think that I read more Ice Planet Barbarians in the winter, but I really love this series. I highly recommend it. If you haven't tried it out and you're kind of like freaked out by it, like just try it. Just try it. It's a really good time. And I love the barbarians in this. The audiobooks are wonderful as well. I definitely encourage you to check out the audiobooks, but I love this series. It's set on this very cold, icy planet where there's only 2 seasons, the bitter season, and then I can't remember, but it's like, then there's the actual cold season. Like the summer season's called the bitter season. Like it's either super cold or like impossibly cold. That's basically it. Just super cold or impossibly cold. Those are the 2 seasons. So I love it. I love it so much. It's also got a lot of like fun snowed in tropes. Like that happens quite often in these books where you do get them snowed in a cave, which is super wintry too. So highly recommend this one. Okay, next I do have a monster romance that is literally just like a novelette / short story. This for me was not like a standout. I just have to put that out there. This was like a 3 stars. I didn't feel any way like good or bad about this. It just felt like a book. Like it didn't feel special. But at the same time, there wasn't necessarily anything wrong with it. So I do want to mention it because this is set in a snowy forest with a woman who is hunting, and then this big antlered deer god monster finds her and goes home with her to her secluded cabin in the woods where it's like snowing and everything. They get together. And it's a novelette short story, like it's less than 30 pages. It's a monster romance. This is, if I didn't mention the name, I'm sorry. It's called Dashaway. And this is by Adrienne Blue. I still think I might try more from her. She actually does have like a Santa Claus retelling, I believe, as well. But this is just like a short smutty time, a little short story with a monstrous antlered. He's very beastly. I just have to warn you, he's very beastly. I'm putting this here because this is a super wintry short story. And I do want to offer it to you guys if you are interested. But it definitely was like an all-time favorite for me. Finally, I have Whiteout by Adriana Anders. This is actually a contemporary romantic suspense that I thought was really wonderful. I had a great time with this one. It wasn't like an all-time favorite, but it was like super fun and I really enjoyed it. It was fast-paced. This is set in Antarctica, I believe, and we have these scientists that we're following, and something is going down. Some sort of weird kind of coup at the science station. It's a romantic suspense, and we have this hero and this heroine that ends up being kind of coupled together, and they're like on the run. And so you have a lot of them being snowed in together, like a survival romance aspect where they're running basically across the Antarctic tundra trying to get to this other science station. Check out the triggers because it does have a lot of like thriller suspense aspects. So just know that going in, it's not just straight up romance. It's quite suspenseful too, but it is really fun, and it's all set like in Antarctica, and it's like a survival, they're on the run, camping, trying to survive, suspenseful romance, and I thought it was a lot of fun. I love survival romances. I think they can be so much fun, and this definitely was. And then it also, like I said, it gives you definitely, you're in Antarctica. It gives you all of that snowy, cold, icy, wintry atmosphere. So those are some winter romance recommendations that I do have for you. I hope you liked this video. If you did, don't forget to click the like button and comment down below with your wintry romance recommendations for me. Until next time, fellow readers, keep reading and living your best life.
Never said you felt that way. Guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I